Okay, I'm back. Hopefully things are recording alright. Yeah. I assume they are. Let me take a look at my phone to make sure I know what time it is for the video recording time. I had 15 more minutes, but I figured it was like a good spot to it was like a natural spot to leave off, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm glad that I got the, Pharos? Jillian and Negan quest done. I forgot that there was a continuance to that, like I said, but I'm really glad that I got that done because, you know, like I said, it just takes up so much room on this. Oof, that was a chunk. Whoa. That's the power of that 80% pass through. Goodness. And that +2 to fighting form is really showing its worth. Goodness. Oof. That is gnarly. We aren't even anywhere near our real power level yet, by the way. This is like... I'll remind you, all we did was put one... For as far as damage, all we did was put 1 point into this, into Overload, and we got +2 from our ring into fighting form. Can you freaking imagine the power that's going to be coursing through our guy's gun whenever I end up putting into this fella the requisite skills to really reach the maximum potential? You can't. Like, the answer is you can't.
That skill's not.
I'm telling you, it's something to behold. It takes walking a fine line though, patience, and willingness to withhold power now, like power in the moment, to get way more power way earlier than you probably should later. Chunky. Chunky salsa. Chunky snake salsa.
That skill's not ready.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just in love with how this is finally feeling... feeling like my guy is using a magic gun. Like a magic rifle. Because you know what's better than just a rifle? A magic rifle. That's not something you see often in fantasy, and you really should see it more often. Because, I mean, why not? And also, if you look up, like, how gunpowder is made, it's kind of a wonder that it took so long for people to... Like, how people used to make gunpowder. It's kind of like, how did nobody figure that out prior? It's a real weird... it's a real weird thing to look at. So, to look at, like, from a perspective, from a hindsight perspective, you know, like, yeah, sure, hindsight's 20/20, but it is a sort of weird thing with gunpowder, and looking up how kings would have farmers have certain slats in their barns or whatever it was. It's such a weird thing to look at gunpowder and be like, yeah, you could totally figure that out in a fantasy setting. Like, there's no reason that D&D shouldn't have black powder rifles. Come on. Like, there's no reason that there shouldn't be a musket in, like, that your dwarf can't roll up with 6 powder pistols strapped to his chest. Like, come on. Come on. That should totally be a thing. Like, seriously. To say nothing of the idea of just using magic as the propulsion method, right? Like, why do you need to invent gunpowder when you can make runes of explosion? That's the other thing I never really understood about lack of firearms in a medieval fantasy setting. It's like, well, you don't need black powder. You don't need gunpowder. You could just use like an explosion room in a chamber, like a combustion trap room that I guess you could just have reset or just, you know, engraved. And you get what I mean? It doesn't make sense from either angle. Like, you should be able to have a literal magic operated rifle. Oh man, like imagine it, right? So, you know how bullets work, where the hammer hits the, or at least in like a revolver, like you have the hammer strike the back of the bullet that ignites the gunpowder. It's like you could just do that with a solid metal slug in a fantasy setting where you say have a dwarf runesmith with a little rune pen and scribe a combustion rune on the back of each bullet individually. You know, and it wouldn't even be, you know, it wouldn't even be the same. It would be a solid slug, because you just have the rune. You know, you wouldn't even have to have like the gunpowder in the jacket and all that. But like you wouldn't need the casing, right? It would just be a solid metal thing that has a rune inscribed on the back of it that gets struck by the hammer that ignites it. But that's just me being me, I guess. The point is that my guy finally feels like he has a freaking magic gun. And that's really good. I'm very happy about this development. I'm also very happy about the development that that guy got stuck behind that, yeah, that he's just stuck behind that little ridge. That's awesome. I'm totally cool just standing here while he's stuck behind that. I think our potion economy can handle it. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Ah, ruined it. What I was really happy about that for was because it kept me from having to worry about... Not that. Come on, that. Well, I think he was gonna do it. Oh no, he did the falling. That. But now that I'm on an incline, I guess I don't have to worry about it. Okay, just dodge that. Oof. Almost. There we go. Thawing putrid necklace. Ugh. Plus 13% elemental resistance. That's pretty good. Oh, that's 7% acid damage, not resistance. We can't summon a briar plus 9% health. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. I mean, it sounds like a big deal, and I guess it kind of is, but I'd rather have the plus 13% elemental resistance. I mean, we're not dealing with elemental attacks yet, but it's nice to think that we'll have it, right? I mean, I say we're not really dealing with elemental attacks, as I just had a guy throw freaking water at me, and like, okay, throw ice at me, like, okay, I guess we are. You get what I mean. It's not that common. Oof. The chunky salsa maker. I love it every time it happens. Ought to just write on the side of the rifle, Prego. Just goodness, or what the heck is a salsa company? Not a chunky Italian sauce company. I can see the dip in my freaking head, and I can't read the label. What is that dip? There is a literal El Paso. Yeah, I should just write El Paso on this. My guy should just inscribe El Paso, just scratch it into the side of his rifle. Goodness, El Paso, extra hot. Like that, right there. Goodness, that too. Look at all that salsa.
That skill's not ready.
Good grief. I love that we're getting a ton of scrap, because you need a ton of scrap for various like little side area stuff in the game. I hope we're as lucky with dynamite, because that's another. There's a couple of items like that in the game where you need like X number of whatever thing to insert into a thing to get progress. Like scrap's one of them. There's scrap. There's dynamite. There's these Cthulhu brain
That
things.
skill's not ready.
There's even like wasp honey. So I hope we get lucky with the dynamite, because otherwise the thing with the dynamite is, and scrap too to a limited extent, I think some enemies can drop it. But with dynamite there's like a set number of containers in the region where you can get it that it can drop from, and that really stinks. I don't think it drops from the enemies in that area. So I hope we can get really lucky on that whenever we get there. I'll probably mention it again, me being me, but yeah, it can be really annoying to go through that whole area and be like, well, I guess I got 2 dynamite. Shrug. Especially because the upper level limit on that area for, there's 2 things, right? 2 factors. One is that that area is really tough, and 2, that the upper level limit on that area is like 40, and you really don't want to be going through there at level 20, let alone, and everything else is at level 20, let alone going through there at level 40, and everything's at level 40. That's nightmare stuff. You don't want to do that if you can help it. It's just a headache. Because it's like everything there now has like a ton more health, and it just, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. You don't want to deal with it if you don't have to. Speaking of things you don't want to deal with if you don't have to, we're going to be getting to something right here. Yes. You see this little board? Now, what you are supposed to do, as you can see by the quest marker, right? What you're supposed to do is come here and go, oh, the bridge is out, and then go down here. Yeah, you can't just walk under it, by the way. The problem is that if you've been collecting enough scrap, it takes 3 scrap and 5,000 iron bits. You don't have to take the long way around. You can just come up here. As a matter of fact, we're going to do that just so that we unlock the, these are basically goblins. Grobles. Now, if you're paying attention, that guy had his name as the Witch Doctor. One of the reasons why we're not going to be coming through here for a minute, if we can help it, is because of those fellas. I don't want to be coming through here dealing with witch doctors, because they're healers, and they're really good healers at that. And I don't. My tactic typically for this area is to go through the long way. It contains a shrine anyway, and, you know, loot and XP and all that. But the main thing is I like to get as much XP out of that area and make sure that I have enough damage on my guy by the time I get him for here, that I can just power through the healing that the witch doctors do instead of having to deal with it. So there's this reconnaissance report. Just leave this on screen. I'll start slowly scrolling in 3, 2, 1. Trying to be as gentle on the left thumbstick as I can. I'm just gently pulling it down until it starts moving. There we go. There you go. We're not going to be talking to the folks there. That's what those little blue dots represent on the map, is like something you can interact with. In this case, it's NPCs. We're not going to be talking with them. We're going to be going the intended route for now, for the reasons I already explained, but mainly, predominantly for the shrine, also for the rift gate. But also because I just kind of like the atmosphere in here. Just kind of neat. Now, the enemies in here aren't going to be much different from what we've already seen. If I'm going to level with you, we're not going to see, like... We're not going to see truly new enemies for a minute after we get through the next area. Like, once we get through here, it's going to be a lot of the same enemies until we move on to the next, like, area of the world, rather than just moving through areas within a larger region. Wow! Darn, that's a good bit of damage. I'll give it to the spiders. Their little barb attack hurts. Like a lot. I'm not even sure why. I don't know what kind of damage that even is. I mean, I assume it's like poison damage. Something like that.
That skill's not ready.
Yeah, compare that I have 8 dogs trying to rip my dude's face off, and that doesn't do as much damage as 5 of those barbs. You know? But I think that also has a lot to do with how armored up my dude is. I'm not even sure if I'd say that he's that armored up. Well, speaking of, let's put those boots on because they're more armored. Yeah. Was kind of hoping those pants would be another upgrade, but they weren't. I think it was pants, yeah. What about these? Nah, not even a side grade. I don't get why the spiders do the weird scuttle. I just used a potion there to save on Constitution. So looky here. Looks like a portion of the flooded passage has caved in. You can clear it out with some heavy explosives. The old abandoned mines around, spoiler alert, aren't going to be mentioned anymore. It's kind of funny that they just straight up spoil it there. It's like, yeah, you'll find this at the region that you're not supposed to know about yet. By the way, you can just go there and skip all this. Like, you don't have to do this. But if you do that, you're doing it out of order, and doing the stuff out of order, you still have to come back here and do this stuff if you want to move the plot forward, and it just means that you end up doing it at a higher level and then sort of having less XP per kill, which doesn't really, it's not really good, you know? It's not a good idea. It's better in this game to just follow the curve. As a cheeky guy who likes to do things out of order in games like this when he can, like, just trust me, if you play this game yourself, it's better to just do it the intended route for the most part. There's never really a time where you get an advantage for doing it the early way. Because let me tell you, you're not going to be ready for what's behind any of those dynamite areas at this point in the game anyway, so that was a good one. But you're not going to be ready for it anyway, so why bother? It doesn't really, like, rushing to get dynamite so that you use them on the way doesn't really make any sense. I'm going to skip that until I know that this area is clear so that I can just run straight away from whatever comes out of that, if I need to. Also, I'd like to get another level up before touching it. Ah, ear again. If you heard that, that was my ear making a squeaking noise. I don't know if that'll come through on the recording, but if it does, that's funny. Now, reminder, that's 80% chance to pass through and still ain't doing it. Which is like... It's kind of wild to think about, right? you want to talk about weighted odds, right? Like, on an 80% chance, if you're not scoring it most times between... So, say you somehow had an 80% chance to win a coin flip, right? Say you had a 5-sided die, right? And on that 5-sided die, you bet on 1 through 4. If you got 3 times in a row 5, you'd be questioning whether or not those dice were loaded, right? Like, you would, right? Like, assume that you know that that die should mechanically land on each side an even amount of times, like a 6-sided die. You know, like completely randomly. You're gonna start wondering if somebody put that dice in the oven, like that die in the oven. Like, this not... I'm not saying it is weighted, I'm just saying it feels like that sometimes. This wouldn't be the first video game that I've played that did that, so, you know. If you've ever played any game like XCOM, where you have a 99% chance to hit, and you hit in reality with a 99% chance like 60% of the time. Yeah. It's that kind of thing, right? Ugh. I know, that can't sound great on the recording whenever I adjust my headset like that when my ear gets itchy. I try not to do it whenever I don't feel like I need to. Nice! I mean, I say nice, but this level up and most level ups after are going directly into the class. Now we good? Alright. Now to take a look at everything, Deadly Momentum is like the real big one. That said, I do want to get Elemental Balance as soon as possible. I really do. But I know that rushing for Deadly Momentum is like the way. And Decorated Soldier. I mean, plus element, like flat elemental resistance is stupidly good. I really want Arcane Will. Just because even like a 6-second, even a 6-second duration, 25% to damage is just really good. But again, I feel like the way forward is just going for Deadly Momentum. I want to just dump into Zul'Han's technique. Or even just put points directly into Cadence. I think, hold on. Putting it into Zul'Han's technique sounds good. The thing is that I'm fighting between every shot stuff and chance to be activated stuff. Because if I put that up to 20%, right? Look, I'm going to round down to 10. 10% is obviously 1 in 10. 20% is obviously 1 in 5. That's a ridiculous number. If it's a fair 1 in 5, that's ridiculous. Now 12%, if we go by 2%, that's well, 2% is 1 in 50. So 12%, so 10% is 1 in 10. Yeah, add another 1 in 50 to that. Because 12% would be what? 6 in 50? No. Yeah, no, yeah, no. Yeah, that'd be 6%. That'd be 6 in 50. Because if it's 1 in 50 for 2%, that would be, yeah. Yeah, I mean, 6 in 50 ain't that bad. But 6 in 50 isn't 1 in 5. And I kind of really want that to be, like, a thing that happens a lot more. The problem is I say that, but and I know this is probably not the most interesting part of these videos, if there is to be said an interesting part, but like the problem is and the reason why I have the strategy of just rushing as soon as possible to fill this bar to 40 for both whenever I play any character that applies to, is that, or at least to the maximum of their class that I'm going to use, is because the stuff further in is so strong, right? I know that that doesn't look very strong as it is, but you got to remember that that will affect all attacks, right? Following a cadence strike, like, okay, so consider that, and then go over to Arcanist, and then consider, where is it? Is it here? No, it's in Soldier, isn't it? Yeah, it's this. So, plus 3% attack speed. Deadly momentum lasts 5 seconds whenever a cadence strike activates, right? And there's no cooldown mentioned. So if you can attack fast enough, you can get 3 attacks off quick enough to basically always have deadly momentum going, is what I want to say. Right? I'm not sure if that's how that works, but I'm just saying if that is how that works, you can understand why that is then suddenly a big deal. Because then that's just a once it's on kind of thing. I did level up, didn't I? Yes, I did. And I did dump it into Arcanist, right, okay. That is what I wanted. This is also what I wanted. Let's go ahead and clear the shrine.
I can't do that yet.
Now, I'm tempted to upgrade the cadence thing, obviously, but again, I want to get to increased attack speed. I want to get to increased duration of the elemental damage over time effects. I want to get to just the end as far as possible, like as quick as possible, rather, of these skill trees. I want to get deadly momentum. I want to get squad tactics on. I want to just hurry up and get those 2 things on. I want to hurry up and get Scars of Battle isn't that great, but I want to hurry up and get Decorated Soldier. And I definitely want to hurry straight to Elemental Balance. Just checking, because I don't think there are any other buffs. Yeah. Now, the thing is, this is a buff. Yeah. I'm not sure which, like, super buff I'm gonna go with. That requires a shield or a 2-handed melee. I mean, it's probably just gonna be Oleron's Rage, because that is stupendous damage. on top of all of the other percentages we're going to get. But that's a long ways off, and I'm just going to leave that for the me that is there when we get there. Now we've got a surprise boss to deal with. He's got a... Okay, I'm going to tell you, this guy had 11,000 health whenever I fought him, and he was level 15 on my first guy, right? I remember that, because I did that stuff like yesterday. That guy has 11,000 health, I think, in normal, at the same level, just to give you an idea of just how much different the health values are. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was like 10 or 11,000. Good grief. I don't want to get hit with any of those attacks, because they do a stupendous amount of damage on normal. Yeah, I'm not sure my guy would survive to tell the tale if he gets hit by any of that stuff. Oh, and I just want to remind that once we get the Hydra, that's whenever the real damage kicks on. Ooh, crud. The Hydra, not the Hydra, the Kraken, and then the Hydra, that's whenever the damage really kicks on. Oof. Okay.
Can't do that yet.
I don't know how I've gone without taking a hit yet, and I don't want to jinx it by saying that. But wow. Goodness. Let's take a look at that rifle. It's worse. Excellent. Casting speed doesn't matter to us because we just cast attack. That's good, the extra armor. Okay, same armor, so... I guess I'll take the lightning, poison, acid, wow, that's a lot of resistance. I guess I'll just take resistances then. Now, over here, you can see what physique does for each point. And then cunning, right? You get bonus duration damage, which is the real important thing. Spirit. Yeah. Physique is bonus health and regen. Cunning, though, is the bonus duration damage stat. And that's kind of what matters a lot. Sorry for yawning. Yeah, that kind of matters a lot for our guy, especially since we're going to be doing internal and bleeding and just damage over time in general. So here we are, we're back here. As noted, right? Earlier. But now we have, technically speaking, just from leveling the mastery, we got more cunning, which does mean that we have more damage. Just very technically speaking, we have more damage. The main thing, though, is that we've got that devotion shrine, so we got more damage from that, too. And all in all, it's just the knowledge that we completed that area that helps a lot in this world. Now, if I wanted to be a bit of a stick in the mud, I could go and rush down the next region. Not even for anything other than to get some more devotion shrines. But I don't think it's really that important. I mean, if I did, I'd just go do it, but I'd rather, like I said, show the normal progression, because you're better off just taking the normal progression. And it's the way I would play this anyway, like if I was not recording. Vladox the Bloodletter. Oh, goodness. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that's bleeding damage. I know it's a weird thing to think, that the Fountain of Blood might be bleeding damage. But Yeah, and that the rain of blood might be bleeding damage, and that the blood projectiles might be bleeding damage from the giant mosquito. But I think it's a well-founded guess. Like I don't think it's an I don't think it's an illogical assumption. I'm not sure what the various resistances are for the different enemy types. I mean, some are kind of obvious. Oh. Some are kind of obvious. Like the ethereals, you won't believe it, are resistant to ethereal damage. And the chthonic entities, wait for it, are resistant. That's right, to chaos damage. So, you know, it's... You know, I joke, but...
I can't do that yet.
In some instances, it's kind of clear, but in others, it's not really. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is an entire enemy type that I'm pretty sure is actually resistant to internal damage for reasons that are... I only bring them up because it's obvious. I'll say this much, they're resistant to internal damage because they don't have any internals to damage. Since internal damage, you know, requires internality, right? That there's something inside of something to be damaged. It does trip me out that I went through here like super stupidly fast on my dual pistol guy, and again, this isn't that much slower at this point, but it is slower, like noticeably enough. I think this guy is still getting more XP at a better clip. By the way, that over there is like an extra area that we're just skipping because we're on veteran, and I'm not dealing with that right now. It's just that simple. I'm not dealing with that stuff right now. It's an area that has a dungeon at the end of it that is good grief. Talk about spike damage. Haha. But yeah, it's got an area at the end of it that's chthonic. Just chthonic enemies, and they do a lot of damage as it is. And I don't want to deal with that. You know, and I'm not joking whenever I say that you don't really have to worry about damage at this point in the game at all, really. On normal, if you're running a character the way that I am this guy. On the other hand, in veteran, you absolutely do. Sorry for the yawning, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. If you saw that little lightning bolt, that was the witch doctor doing his witch doctory work. Yeah, you see that? He's healing these boys to full. But we can outdamage him. Not for that guy, but we got rid of enough of them that we could just target him. Nice, I'm glad that we reached despised the beasts. I'm very happy about that. Now, one of the problems with these witch doctors is if there's more than one of them, they can heal each other. Like in an area. As you saw right there. And he tried to do again to his little buddy. But if you can isolate them and take them out, they're not that bad. The rest of them just become kind of easy even to deal with. You know, see, these guys are like level 15, 60. The area ramps up pretty quickly, like expecting that you went through the previous area. So that's, again, pointing at another reason to just go ahead and do the proper path instead of skipping stuff. Because again, you're just shoving your own, like, you're still just shoving your own necessities, right? Like the necessity to go get the shrine in a different, like, you're still going to have to do it. You're just shoving it off to the side to do later. Okay, that witch doctor's going down. There we go. Well, we're about full on loot. Oh, crud, they got spiders. Of course they do. Let's take out the spiders first, since they're the ones doing the actual damage here. Holy crud. About bit the big one. Not paying attention. That's one of the dangers of being a glass cannon who's putting off being a cannon as long as possible. Oof. There ain't nothing good in that cave. I know that for a fact. But we're going in there anyway. I'm not the brightest bulb in the drawer. Ah, crud. I forgot that there was a... I forgot that there was a totem in here. It's alright. Now, if it's not clear, the reason why I put damage in front of, like, regen as a priority is because if your enemies are dead, they're not hitting you. That's not exactly a profound observation. You probably already knew that, but I figured it was worth mentioning. That is, in fact, like, the calculus in this game, is that you want to kill your enemies more than you want to stay alive. Because at some point, this game kind of reaches a point where defenses aren't as important as damage. Like, raw damage is more important. Like, this isn't a game, like, on a long enough timeline of playing the game, this isn't, like, going through all the difficulties and redoing the campaign on the higher difficulties and stuff. You eventually get to a point, even in normal difficulty, sort of towards the end of the game, where if you aren't doing enough damage, your character is not going to beat the game. Like, it's that. Like, you can't just be a tank. You have to be able to, like, you can be hardy, but you can't be like an actual full-on tank. And that's a thing to remember, for sure. Like, sure, my guy's taking a lot of damage, and he's not going to be a tank in the typical sense anytime during the playthrough, but even a character that is supposed to be tanky cannot truly be tanky. You know, after a certain inflection point of the game, you need damage more than, at any given point, more than you need sustain or defense. Okay. Kind of want to take my level up. There we go. We good? You run out of dudes? Game? Am I okay to look at the... Okay. Well, actually, I kind of want to take the level up after we get the shrine. How'd they get that many dead dudes down here anyway? Like, how'd that happen? Oh, I guess it is a burial cave. Okay, I was gonna be like, why are there so many bodies down here? Oh, never mind. Alright, yeah. Alright, game. I'll give you that one.
My inventory is full.
Okay, well, I don't care if your inventory is full, pal. I want to see what those leggings are like. Required for Zeke 200. Required player level 20. We'll see if that's worth it. I'll put that in the storage back at base. Okay, so we should have the next fox. Yep, 25 cunning and 8% bleeding resist. Nice. But I want to look at my phone real quick. Yeah, the burial cave. And then Burwich Estates. And then underground transit. Okay. Okay. So the thing is that there are shrines in each difficulty, normal, elite, and ultimate. Like there are shrines that are only available in each. So there's only, it looks like, 9 shrines in what's called Act 1, technically. Okay, I mean, one of them doesn't count. So there's only, and by the way, whenever you go through difficulties, if you got a shrine, you only, like, that shrine is still got, basically. So there's only 8 here in this difficulty, it looks like, which is fine. That's like beyond fine, actually. Because 8 will get us to... Because the lizard has 3, so that'll get us the lizard and the fox. I think. No, it'll just barely leave us without... It'll get us most of the lizard. Because we had to put 1 in to get in the crossroads, so that'll get 5, and then another one into the crossroads for primordial, and then 2 into the lizard. Alright. That's fine though, that's fine. It's not a big deal. We're good. We good. It's good. No need to fret. No need to freak out. I might cut the recording and start another one after this. I mean, again, I do long sessions whenever I can record. Like whenever I feel like recording, precisely because I feel like recording. And because there's a lot of days where I don't get that. We don't use Force Wave. So... And I hope you don't mind, whoever's watching this, like, that I use we and us language. Like, I just... It's, like, osmosis from myself being a guy who watches a lot of Let's Plays. So, you know, it just happens. Don't look too far into that. It just is what it is. Don't look too deep into that. Again, that's not a great amulet. Also not a great amulet. Like, I want that 22 health regen more than any other kind of amulet bonus right now. I don't know why I talked it. Well, you know, I gotta get rid of that dumb Slith amulet. 26% poison and acid resistance sounds good, but it's like, dude, I don't care. And I definitely don't want any active skills, because, you know, Again, the one button run, you know? They kind of defeat the whole point of doing a one button run. To then just have that happen. Like, just accidentally or otherwise using,
I'll give you a good price on what I've got left.
you know.
See you around.
If that musket didn't do fire damage, it would be a whole lot better.
Good price on what I've got left.
Plus 85 damage per second, huh? It's lacking the extra attack speed, but I'm willing to look past that. Plus 37. It's not bad. Plus 13. Plus 57, huh? How much does that cost? 5112, and this costs 20,000. Yeah, I'll take the budget one. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I'll take the budget one. We'll start finding good guns and good armor and stuff soon-ish, but yeah, I just wanted a quick and dirty... Oh, plus 50% bleeding damage. That's way better than I thought. That's actually kind of in a way better than the other one. It was 4 times the cost. Okay, I think I'm going to cut again for now. So, be right back.